You're listening to Veeam Partner Perspectives with Eric Doherty.
Welcome to the Veeam Partner Perspectives podcast. I'm Eric Doherty. My guests today are two former Veemers who have joined forces over Pure Storage, Zane Allyn and Chris Sprague. Welcome to the show, guys. Can you share a little bit about your backgrounds and what your current role is over at Pure?
Yeah, hey, thanks for having us, Eric. As Eric said, I'm Zane Allyn, and Chris is here and introduce himself in a minute. But currently my role is I'm a principal technologist with Pure Storage and have been just coming up on 2 years now. Prior to that, I spent quite some time at Veeam and IT before that. So long time in the data protection space, even when I was in IT, more than I care to remember. But kind of, but more of a generalist now on the principal technologist team.
Great.
Yeah. Hi everyone. My name is Chris Sprague, and glad to be here. I had, Zane and I get along because we have similar backgrounds, but I spent a couple of decades in IT, from, support all the way to admin and enterprise architecture, until I decided to make the jump over to, the dark side or the light side, depending on who you ask, over to a reseller, and then spent some years at Veeam myself before moving over here to Pure Storage, where I'm kind of adjacent to Zane and his team there. We're all on strategy and solutions. He's a technologist across the portfolio. I focus specifically on data protection and great partner like Veeam. So
Awesome. I think the beautiful thing right now is, I think just about every one of our partners knows who Pure is. I haven't run into anybody who's not familiar with who you are and at a general level what you do. But can you give me a little more about what it is you really do and some info about your product lines?
Yeah, you want to pick that, Zane?
Sure. You want me to tell them what you do, Chris? So from personal perspective, what kind of our roles are? Yeah, we're both on the solution strategy team. He's Chris, kind of an extension, and I'll let him go into that a little more focused. Yeah. I'm on the principal technologist side, and kind of what that's morphed into, and especially even this year, is we're focusing is working with our teams where we kind of focus in a region, or a sales region, if you will. They're kind of big. Chris and I are both in the West, so it's kind of where we tend to focus. Though I do plenty of things across the border, and help the teams kind of think about, how their customers could best use the technology we offer, right? The solutions, how we work and fit with other technologies, right? Like Veeam, obviously we bring that to bear a lot. VMware, be it SQL. And a large part of my job is, helping the teams recognize that, maybe make them think of an area they hadn't thought of before, right? They're kind of focusing maybe, how do we get more broadly so we can help our customers, and then bring resources to bear to help with those solutions, right? We have extension team outside of Chris and I that does focus in databases, VMware. I interface with product management a lot, so we can take, requests up and down. And then of course, I have a kind of a hook into the roadmap, so I can see what's kind of coming down the pike from Pure and see if that story doesn't fit where their customers are going, so we can articulate that we're going along this journey with them, or even help them, consultatively, on that journey as they move forward. And then Chris is adjacent to my teams, and I'll let him explain what he does.
Yeah. No, it's interesting there, because I know you asked, kind of about Pure and product lines, but as you can see, most of what we are trying to do, and Zane being the leader of this as a principal technologist, is really around solutions.
You're solving around workloads, it sounds like, more than trying to push. You're not pushing product, you're pushing solutions that happen to be products.
Right, yeah, exactly.
We're not selling boxes here.
Yeah. We, really want to find solutions, and that's where, great alliances like yourself come in. And but we do, one of the things I do on the data protection side is talk about, let's solve a solution, or solve a problem with a solution. But we do have different platforms that can do that, right? And we have platforms across the board that support either in production or as great backup targets for Veeam, right? So just to kind of throw those out there, flash array may be what a lot of people know about. We have a flash array that that's where all this great Veeam integration, right, and the universal storage integration comes in, is with FlashArray in production. We also have, a capacity-based FlashArray, what we use for backup with Veeam a lot. And then we've got our FlashBlade, our fast file and object platform that just kind of blows everything out of the water when you need rapid restore, right? And something obviously I'm looking very forward to with the new V12 and direct to object and having a great object platform like that, right? So
yeah, I definitely want to get into, because I know that one of the great things about your solutions is the flexibility of standard file storage and object storage on the same box, basically. So there's a lot of excitement around the objects, direct to object that we're doing.
Yep.
How's that going to change, you think, how people are consuming Pure solutions for Veeam backup solutions?
Yeah, I'll speak directly to that, and then let Zane put his thoughts in there as well. But before I get too far ahead of myself, there's a lot of solutions testing going on in that right now, right? So to find out all those, speeds and feeds and hero numbers, and we're still waiting on some of that. But ultimately, right, just to have another option, I think object storage, kind of what we thought object storage was for, it's kind of changed, or the way people are using object storage is changing. And we found more use cases. So it's just going to add another option for the customers out there. But really, I'm hopeful that it just simplifies the whole thing, right? We have a very good story together already. And I think being able to say, hey, create a bucket, point to it, go turn on object lock, whether you're on-prem or object lock out to AWS, it becomes a very easy story, right? And so I'm very excited for this to, drop maybe, what's that, next week? And
Tuesday.
Can we say it? All right.
It's Tuesday. Well, to be fair, it's Tuesday, but it probably will have been roughly a month by the time this actually gets out on the air. So
okay,
anything that is being released next Tuesday, we can certainly talk about today.
That's right. There you go. Okay. Valentine's Day, right? It's going to be
good. So yeah, very exciting. I think it will bring a lot of options and change how a lot of people look at their data protection. And I can't wait for it to come out.
I think you hit it right on the head there. That simplification, right? It's just another option that simplifies. We see a lot of in the industry in general, kind of as customers are modernizing their apps, like S3, that object storage is becoming kind of the modern app file system, right? Because it just simplifies it as you scale it out.
Yeah.
And I don't see backup as any different. It's another application that is very, very important to the customer that they use in their data centers.
Yeah. And everybody wants to do as much with, and I'm not going to say as little, but if there's a way to get more data onto that platform, then, using something like object, which stores more efficiently, they're going to absolutely want to do it. Especially, like, I'm excited to see in practice how fast and efficient the backup and recovery for on-prem devices are. I saw some preliminary numbers while we were at our sales kickoff. They're pretty impressive. So I'm really excited to see when these things get out there. And like you said, you're starting to work on your testing to see what kind of numbers are there. I'm excited to see it because I think that's always everybody's number one fear when they talk about object, be it cloud, on-prem, and especially on-prem. They're like, well, we need fast recovery. Well, we're saying you're going to be able to do it. You may not need to have you're still going to need some, like you'll even be able to do instant recovery from object storage. And that's going to be, I think, a big game changer. You're still going to need, be things where you're going to need faster disk for this, but I think that we're changing that.
Well, I think the connotation with object was always slow, right? Because it was traditionally used cloud, offsite. It was slower. It was resilient is really what it was built for, right? Let me put it there, archive it.
That 11.9s or whatever, it's always going to be there, never going anywhere. Yeah.
But that's something that Pure's been able to do with the FlashBlade to kind of change that story. We call it the unified file and object, as I think Chris mentioned.
Yep.
And so you can have that simplicity of that file system without having to sacrifice performance. And from what we've seen, and as Chris said, performance testing, but him and I may have banged around in the lab on it. It's nothing short of impressive.
That's cool. So, Chris, you said something, and I want to see if you have an answer for this. So you said that people are finding new ways to use object all the time. What's the most interesting thing you've seen somebody do where you go, huh, I never thought that would have been a solution for that?
Well, I think, yeah, I think it's still growing, but I mean, honestly, I was thinking along the lines of what we're thinking of, or what kind of Zane just mentioned, right? Object was built as a resilient, I need, erasure coding in 3 different places and resilient platform where people are just using it more direct as
Yeah.
like, hey, I don't want to file share anymore. I'll use an object bucket, right? Or this exact use case on-prem backups, right? I
Mhm.
don't think anyone ever thought of that. Object was always thought of, hey, in my cloud tier and go out there. And now you guys are bringing it, direct to object backup. And we have this platform that, you have both said is object, but really, really fast. Right. And I think those are going to be great use cases. And I'm not the most well versed in that. I'm sure there's some other really interesting use cases, but when you have a platform like that, like our FlashBlade is built for, high performance computing and analytics and AI, and so it'll be interesting to see where people take object in all those realms too. Right?
Yeah, it will be interesting because I mean, like you said, you're just building more and more performance into that. And I don't want to, we're talking about object because we're talking about direct to object, but I certainly don't want anybody who doesn't know the difference to think that Pure is just doing object. You guys are certainly doing more, as you just said, with the with flash based arrays that are doing traditional uh, file storage for databases and things like that. So,
Mhm.
other than backup, what are some of the I think basically, I mean, anybody I've talked to, they're using it in every scenario. But what's some of the more popular ways that people are using your solutions?
Um, yeah, we go all the way up the stack. So from the, again, we're trying to be solution based, not product based, but from the flash
Yep.
array side, which is our traditional block, though there's some file there today too, kind of an overlap. It kind of went after the primary workloads at first with our flash array. I guess what they call the X now was the M prior, and prior to that. But we have solutions across the board now. We have something that's higher than that. That's just going to give you more performance and throughput for those demanding workloads. You see, like SAP HANA, consolidation of many X arrays into one, right? It's a big thing that Pure pushes as well, is doing more in less space, using less power, right? We have, ESG around that, right? Our how we're helping with sustainability. But down to the X-ray we see it anywhere from primary to be funny, I've seen it in backup workload situations where they just kind of want a smaller array, down to the C platform, which is our where we introduce the QLC media. So it's higher density, which is why it lends itself best to backup.
Yeah.
But interesting enough, it's still a flash array, slightly less performant, like slightly less latency, maybe single digit, not sub millisecond.
Yeah.
We see that a lot for there are primary workloads where that makes sense, right? People replacing hybrid arrays, consolidating data protection and that workload so that you could actually run DR scenarios off this one box, right? It could be my repository, my snapshot repository, the place where I run VMs in a DR scenario. Hopefully, I'm hoping work really well with your orchestrator, right, on the Veeam side.
Yeah.
So very, very versatile. And then it's a single platform across it, right? It's one OS. You don't have to change. It's just really what performance at what level do I need? I can have Pure throughout the stack.
Well, you bring up a good point with the orchestrator because that actually, well, well, we're coming out with a new version next week as well. I don't even think it has to do with the new version, but the way we're changing, I don't know. Did you guys see how we've changed our bundling?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have
So I think
I
that's
have a
going to help.
go-to-market strategy with it that I love to
Excellent.
talk to you about. Yeah.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I'm excited about that because I think it's going to really help to put Orchestrator in the hands of customers, and make it an easier sale for the partners because it's something that really needs to be talked about. I joke all the time that the R and VBR needs to be turned into recovery, not replication, so that
Yes.
people talk about recovery more because that's really what matters now.
I like you say that because that's kind of the scenario I have is recovering from backup files. But, in all flash array storage, we can do that very well.
Yeah.
Recovery, I absolutely honing in on that. So can we and have run books and do orchestrated testing and have a dashboard? I've seen some changes that might be coming on that side that just give me that visibility into that data and know that my RTO, RPOs are being hit, or I need to do something about it before I have a disaster. Go change that and test it ahead of time and really give you insight into your data protection.
Yeah, I've been on the bandwagon for Orchestrator for a long time, and once people see it and realize what they need to do, it becomes much more of a conversation. But I think that we just need more partners out there talking about recovery, as opposed to just going, "What's your backup plan? What's your recovery plan?"
Well, all partners out there, we're ready to talk about that with you. So
Absolutely,
give us a call.
Yeah.
I agree. And I was at Veeam 5.5 years, and I remember when Orchestrator came out, and I know it's gone through many iterations, but it's always been, to my mind, it's a very powerful tool.
Mm-hmm.
It just has to be used in the right way. You need the right platform to run on it so that it's reliable. And I think the day we can achieve that. So
I totally believe that as well. So it sounds like, again, when we're talking about customer sizes, because sometimes I have on some companies here who they're targeting more, the middle-sized business, sometimes they're enterprise. Do you guys have a sweet spot, or you kind of just run up and around? You said you run up and down the stack. You run up and down the customer size as well?
Yeah, I don't know if we have one customer size. I don't know. Maybe Chris.
Do you have one did you call a sweet spot, or do you really find that it's all over?
I think it's really what the customer's looking for is what we achieve, and we get that across small to large enterprise, right? They're trying to achieve, and the world, in my opinion, is really changed, and this. I mean, malware is more prevalent. All flash recovery is prevalent, so people are really looking more for the solution itself and what can it offer me, right? We have ransomware protection, right, with our safe mode. Can I get all these tools in an easy to use platform? So I think things have changed. I wouldn't say we have one customer type. I'm in the commercial space, so I probably see that more. And Chris is up there in the enterprise world. I see a little bit of that, and I see my teams work with that. But I would say it's across the board.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say. I think that's right. I was letting Zane run with that because we sell solutions. We're not trying to be necessarily niche or even in product space, right? So I wanted to hear his thoughts on that. But I do see there are some of the world's largest customers out there, right? That we actually have jointly, Pure and Veeam. But I actually see us go into really small customers too. And I think that has to just do with the simplicity of the product, right? Like it's so powerful and so, so fast and powerful and all these benefits. And you can run, your biggest databases you need to on it. And some of the world's biggest customers take advantage of that. But then you have the simplicity where, it's kind of like Veeam. It's so simple to set up that everyone can just go get it and use it.
Yeah.
Right. And Pure Storage is really that way. And I know, all storage probably says that, but really, as a customer, you see, Pure Storage, new volume, give it a name and a size and I'm done. It really is that kind of simple. So we have, just speaking from a data protection standpoint and specifically even with Veeam, because I do so much with the field on Veeam, we have from probably some of the smallest customers to the largest I've ever worked with. So that's pretty cool.
And also we'd probably be remiss not to mention, once we discuss and talk about our evergreen architecture, which is you really never have to do an uplift or a lift and shift again, because the Pure array just evolves, right? Modern, you change out controllers, it's very modular. The data just sits there as the array gets better around it, and that's true from generation to generation. I think that hits home in a lot of IT shops, especially because they go through these lifts and shifts, and I got to do it every 5 years, and it's a problem, and I got to go through all this, got to look at this vendor and that vendor and get price quotes. And if I can just know that my data is going to sit and the platform is going to give me more features as it ages, right? Because everything that comes on a flash array, even the FlashBlade, is included, right? From a data protection to replication, all the features, right? I think that hits home a lot. So when you look at that, you can see the cost savings over time. The total cost of ownership is actually better
Yeah.
than most other solutions.
Yeah, and I could see that being the case. And I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to bring that up. And especially, I mean, IT staffs are getting smaller again. So anytime that you can do something where you don't have to have, weeks and weeks worth of training and years of expertise in order to run, that's always going to be more popular. And it's funny, the question that I asked was kind of a loaded question anyway,
Yeah.
because, I think, especially as a solution seller, and I think a lot of companies and even, some partners kind of look at it wrong and they go, oh, they're a small company. They're 25 users. When I was at Microsoft, we had 25 user or less companies that were spending 6 figures a month in Azure.
Yeah.
Don't overlook them by the number of chairs that they have in the room.
Yeah.
Because
It's the wrong metric.
a 5-person shop could be crunching how much data intensely and need tons and tons of storage. So don't assume just because they're tiny that they're not going to spend. I think that's a big thing that partners still overlook. How many seats? I don't think that's a good judge of anything anymore.
No.
Right.
Unless you're selling like mailboxes.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that really counts.
Yeah. What is the organization doing? And what are they? Is there data intensive? Well, they're going to need the storage for it. They're going to need the analytic tools. They're going to need the data protection. I mean, maybe if it's a big, because you could have the reverse, right? Big shops, but it's all, I don't know, it's a plumbing organization and most of the people are in trucks. They're not using the data center.
They have one database that has all the part numbers in it and their payroll system. Or something.
So that's a great point. Yeah. Let's not look at it that way.
Yeah. It's the truth. And I think that that's something, and that's a mindset shift that I think still a lot of people at partners need to make sure they're doing, that there's opportunity there, but you still see it. It's kind of funny because you still see it. Do you break it out by spend? Well, it's kind of hard to do that before they bought, but you end up, say you're on the enterprise team, sometimes the enterprise doesn't do a lot of business with certain things, but you got to treat them. They're a big company. So you got to treat them like a big company, but some of those little companies deserve to be treated like big companies too. It's like until after the fact, you realize they just bought 7 figures worth of stuff from us, but they've been in business for 2 years and have 10 employees, and who knows?
And if you're
the next big one.
And if you're their consultant, I mean, you can kind of take them through this data transformation, right? Like, hey, there is a better way to do it if you implement this solution.
Yeah.
You get this insight out of it. It's going to save you time on, what your real business is. So yeah, don't overlook them at all.
And you want to be in at the ground floor with that, because places like that is going to grow. So
absolutely,
if you get in, especially something like you were saying with your platform where it's, you're never going to have to do a forklift, then, so there's going to be nothing but growth.
I had that, and I'll stop. I really think that is, I mean, that's the biggest I liked a lot about Pure before I came is, but just anecdotally, I was back home where I'm from, Southern California. Don't live there now. I was visiting one of the guys. I was 2 guys I know. I used to work with him. I was helping him at his organization. The one guy actually might have put Pure in. Funny enough, I didn't. It just kind of came up in conversation. They ended up going cheaper and doing something else. But we were talking about it. He goes, yeah, basically they did nothing. That's what they did. And again, it was just a friend of mine, somebody I was just kind of talking to about Pure. But we were out and our other friend was there who's completely out of IT. And I was trying to explain like, well, why did they want Pure? And I was like, well, this and this. And I said, but I looked at the other guy that's not IT and I told him, but here's the real value. And I explained the value of Evergreen.
Yeah.
This guy who has nothing to do with IT, I think he was like in theater. I think he's a history graduate. I forget what he does now. He got it. I was like, yeah, this thing that Mike has to do right now, he never has to do this again, right? He knows that his system's going to be modern. It's going to grow with him. All the features are going to be there, and they're just going to be able to get done what they need to get done and stop worrying about it. And he's like, oh, that makes sense to me. So I was like, yeah. So even somebody outside of the IT world gets that. If I don't have to spend time on this, then that's going to be a value to me. My organization.
Yeah, that's a great model. Fantastic model. And you're seeing more and more things go not to that extent. I mean, the fact that, you never have to do it, but they're going for more of the longer term things. But you guys have come up with a way to really do it in a way that not only saves the money and that effort, but really puts the IT people at ease, because I was laughing when you were talking about it. I was like, yes, when you finish that major upgrade where you're putting in your new arrays, you have that sense of relief. You'll actually watch the IT guys smile of relief. And then a second later, the clock resets and they're like, oh, 3 more years. They're going to do this crap again.
And
Yeah.
it might have taken 6 months to put it in, right? So it's like, wow, I only have 2.5 years. Like,
Exactly.
Like, great.
Yeah.
I'm already looking at what the next solution needs to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. You're testing new solutions. You know, it's like, I got about a year and a half of my nights and weekends maybe being mine again before I have to go through this process all over again.
Yeah, I mean that's a huge story on the data protection front that we tell all the time is the non-disruptive hardware upgrades. You hear a lot more about non-disruptive upgrades now, and with software and things, but on the hardware platform, like Zane was saying, not only like evergreen forever, where we keep your platform modern, right, but actual storage, non-disruptive hardware upgrades. So I can talk about a data protection platform. You have all your backups on, and hey, if all the sizing and things we're doing, you don't have to worry too much, because guess what? We can come in and non-disruptively upgrade this in a year or 3 years. You need more storage. You don't have to take down your Veeam data protection platform on the back end now. We can add storage non-disruptively, and it's still there, still providing you availability if need be. Right. So,
and that's interesting because I was just talking with a partner yesterday, and we were talking about the agony of having to change out extents and scale out repositories and reload balancing across repositories and evacuations, and how it's like, well, we're done using it. Now it has to sit here for another 3 months while everything expires off of it. The fact that that's not a thing that happens, and you keep expanding and updating your storage, that's a huge benefit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And on that point, well, you talked about size while we're talking about all this, and I say we have customers across the board. I'll throw in there. I just finished with the Veeam team some t-shirt sizing, right? For Veeam.
You wrote that? I just was looking at that.
Okay.
We just got that in our hands.
Awesome. Oh, sweet. Okay. Awesome. Yeah. So for basically so that kind of where you fit, right? Make sizing more simple. Yeah. Really, it's to share with our partners and go out there and, hey, I've got a customer looking for this solution about this size. Here's kind of a t-shirt sizing outline. Now, that should really simplify the whole go-to-market message for us, but it's not an end-all be-all too, is the other thing I want to say, right? It kind of fit you there, but definitely come talk to one of our engineers and make sure we get a right sizing for a customer.
Yeah.
But
the thing I like
those are going to be great.
The thing that I like about that, and is the perfect thing, is we've heard feedback as Veeam that when somebody just wants a budgetary quote, it was a tough process. It was the same process for us, almost as if we were doing the full-on project quote.
Right.
These sizes get us in the ballpark, and at least have somebody say, here's what this project's going to run roughly. Now we need to do, caveat, we need to do all the actual sizing and calculations, but at least they know what ballpark they're in before they get too far down the road. And we can give them that with these t-shirt sizes. We can give them that, turn that around in a couple hours or less.
Yeah. The partner knows what a C, whatever it is going to cost, and what it's going to go. I need this many Veeam licenses, and that sizing shows you kind of the upper limit of this many vol. This is probably what you can fit on it, but obviously you can adjust that. Yeah. It should make it really easy for the sales.
I'm glad you guys
that was the point.
Yeah.
Perfect. I was so glad to see that. That stuff makes it so much easier for us to get quotes out to our partners, and makes our partners, because I know that there's been times where the partners are kind of like hesitant because they don't want a budgetary quote to turn into an internal project. So anytime we can go
involved and coordinate schedules. Yeah.
Exactly. We share this. I got to talk to the partner. No, they just want to know about how much. And it's like, okay, well, here's a sheet of about how much for compute. Here's a sheet of about how much for storage. And here's the Veeam calculator. Get them a budgetary price. And if they're still interested after seeing that, then let's get down to brass tacks.
Yeah. And an extension of that, right? Talking with partners, and you said it with the compute. Now you can build programs as a partner to say, oh, this is what a data protection package looks like to you, because they know the compute they would sell. They know the storage that they sell, and then Veeam on top of it. And you can package that all together as kind of a really easy for the end user, right? Hey, this is
an appliance in finger quotes.
Appliance, yeah, exactly. I don't want to say that word. But
I'll say it. I'll be the one.
But it's an appliance that doesn't
for the time being.
An appliance.
Yeah. Trust me, I still get asked that. When are you guys building an appliance? I'm not going to say never, because our whole product's based on things we said we never do at this point. But
True. Market forces do dictate where we go. That's for sure.
that's
But
absolutely true.
It's funny. 'Cause I get asked that quite a bit, and I'm like, well, I don't work for Veeam anymore, but I don't think they'll ever do that. And then I kind of think to myself or to our partners out there, like, that's one of the reasons we're such good alliance partners, Pure and Veeam, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't have competing products in that space.
Yeah.
There's you guys aren't making your own appliance. We're not making our own appliance.
Right.
Yeah.
And we just complement each other.
Yeah, I've heard stories about, and I won't bring up any names of competition kind of that does have appliances taking things. They went in with a partner, and then all of a sudden to hit the price point, they kind of change the way things work, and it's not so good. It's not the way partnership. That's the beauty of being 100% channel for us is it's to our benefit to work with you.
Absolutely. Yep. And then where we do have data protection, we'll say snapshots, but our replication technology, it complements, right? We can layer that together, and it truly just one goes into the other, and Veeam has great visibility into ours. We do have Pure One as the analytics or the visibility piece, and it's actually doing more operations now. There's actually kind of a two-way conversation, doing some automatic for upgrades. We have a new paradigm with an API first thing called Fusion, where you can self-provision storage. Like that's all working off our cloud plane.
Nice.
But Pure One's built into anybody that buys Pure products gets Pure One, right? That's part of the deal.
So you can manage from that as opposed to that first time storage admin having to learn command line codes.
Yes. Yeah. Fusion. Yeah.
The command line codes are still there if somebody wants to use them, right? If they're if they're old school.
CLI.
If they're old school, yep.
CLI, GUIs, we have it all. API first, yeah.
Awesome. So last question. So if somebody isn't a Pure partner and is listening to this, how could they get started? What steps should they take to get started as a Pure partner?
Well, there is a part on our website on how to become a Pure partner and all the reasons you should. Every region has a partner manager as well. If they don't know who that is, that's someone else to reach out to.
Okay.
Definitely Chris and I could get them
in
the right direction as well. We know who they are.
You try to hit your local partner manager. If they're a Veeam partner, hit your Veeam partner manager.
I was just going to say that as well.
That's probably the best way. There you
go. If it's a Veeam solution that we're talking about, we certainly can help with that. Because we are engaged in every market with every Pure team.
Yeah.
And I'm excited because Pure also throws some great events. One of my favorite being the ones coming up soon, the March Madness event here in Philly.
Oh, yeah.
Team always does a good one where we just get together on the first day.
Nice. Talking about that.
And you see just the power of the partnership, because the number of partners that are out at that event is impressive, which says a lot about Pure's relationship with the partner communities.
Yeah, the culture here reminds me a lot of how we ran over at Veeam as well. So that's kind of why it's been an easier transition for me, kind of partners first and customers first, and just really everyone was really enthusiastic and excited to work here and help our customers.
That's awesome.
I'm jealous about the March Madness event. So
I know there's probably a couple you keep an eye out for. I don't know if there's any out in your neck of the woods. You might have to run it by yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. It's at your house, Chris.
Yeah, I was going to say, where's your closest neighbor? Like 8 miles away.
Yeah.
There's days I'm jealous of that. So I may joke, but I'm rather jealous of that many days.
We're a little, I don't say removed from the sales team, but we're not directly in a sales team anymore. So we don't get invited to all that stuff anymore, Chris.
Oh, I get that.
No, I just meant because it's all the way. I just got to find a way to get to Philly.
I would like that.
Oh, you want to go to the Philly one? God.
Yeah. All right. Well, you find the excuse and we'll make sure you're taken care of in this area. That's for sure. So, getting a chance to go to VeeamON this year, do you know, or did you get West Coast representation last year? So now the East Coast guys have to take it this year.
I may have submitted some stuff, so I get chosen. I'm trying to get Miami one way or another.
Yeah, believe me, I know how you feel.
Yeah, it's submit some papers and try to get over there. Yeah. I'm trying to work I'm doing that and working the relationships that I have to see if can do something joint over there.
Nice.
It'd be exciting. I think it's in Miami, right? So.
Yep, Fontainebleau again in May. I forget which week. Usually the week before Memorial Day.
It was a good time. Chris and I both got to go to Vegas last year, and that's where we saw you there.
That's where you're hanging out. Yeah.
It was super
Yeah, it was
cool to be back with the team because we hadn't really been in person for years. Even I was still at Veeam, but COVID and all that. Yeah, so it was great time.
Oh, I know these things have been. I think they've had extra meaning when we get to do them because we haven't been able to be together. So it's really, I hadn't seen you in person. Chris and I were on the same team. We never got to see each other for 2.5 years.
Yeah, I know.
So it's nice to finally get together.
Yeah. So we're hopeful. We're working for it. Like you said, there might be something to hey, it's on the East Coast now, but putting our best foot forward to get out.
You do what you can.
Way again.
If there's somebody I can put in a word with, let me know. I'll do my best.
Awesome.
If my word carries any weight.
It's like maybe use it, maybe don't.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. We'll have to judge that.
Yeah.
Well, guys, this has been awesome. It's been great to catch up with you. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. Likewise. And you had mentioned reciprocating. I'd love to be on your show as well. So we'll have to get that connected up and do a little crossover event.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, our show is more about your experience, so kind of how you became an SE, or
that'll be fun.
How do you get into this world? We'd love to have you. Yeah, we'd like to see that.
It'd be awesome.
Yeah, this was great. Soon. Thanks for inviting us along, Eric.
Hey, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
This has been Veeam Partner Perspectives with Eric Doherty. Thank you for listening.